Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Devil's Lace Dungeon. We were going to play a game today, but that great evil of D&D has raised its head. Scheduling conflicts.
Well, it's done its usual, you know, it did a Beetlejuice. We said its name one too many fucking times, and here it is.
So today,
Here
as
to
usual,
fuck us already.
As usual, today we have me, FatmanT, and the patient zero of the FESTI in the universe, Mr. Vegas.
Hello, 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 ladies! How you doing?
Now, as music
Scream
plays,
if you want to get chlamydia!
We play the music because we like it. Today, we were going to play our game, but again, like I say, scheduling conflicts arose, and two of our players couldn't make it. We are going to try and find more players to fill gaps if we have to. You know, at this point, we're about to abuse ourselves of Reddit. At this point,
Yes, we're gonna start putting feelers out at some point soon.
now, I would say Twitter.
It's not an
Twitter's
invitation
dead
for
now.
those of you there. Yeah, it's not even called Twitter anymore, it's X now. I keep getting emails from them asking if I want to renew my account.
Yeah, I didn't. I said fuck you. Because I know for a fact that
I just keep ignoring the email. Like,
probably though, I know for a fact that my search history is scuffed as it is.
so they just keep sending me an email like once a week. I'm just like, no, I'm just not even gonna open the email. Just no.
So today, as the title of our show implies, we're going over some world-building aspects for your D&D games.
Yes,
Now, bear in
and your
mind-
D&D inspired games as well.
Now bear in mind, I am a noob at this, so
Yes.
I've done a lot of research on these things, whereas Vegas is a more seasoned DM.
Yes,
So,
a man who did his research on this topic long ago, and has subsequently forgotten 80% of the bits he researched, but knows the bits he's picked up along the way.
Yeah, like there's no legendary actions or a thing now.
Yeah, they're new. They weren't a thing when I was a young sprout getting into D&D, back when 5e was, new. That's a new thing they've done. I don't like it. I really don't like it, because they didn't fucking mention they were doing it. I don't like that they did that.
I think
But-
it's more of a recent thing over the past couple of years.
Yeah, like I said, they didn't mention it. No one mentioned that was a thing that was gonna happen. So, I'm scared and confused as per usual. It's a recurring theme on this show, is Mr. Vegas getting scared and confused. It's
Right then, so pause our music for now. So,
It's
what
fun.
started this topic off is I saw a video on YouTube
Yes, you did.
by another DM who's going on about the problem with elves.
Well, now I'm curious, which DM? It might be one I'm familiar with.
2 seconds, I'll see if I can...
Yes, we've caught him out, ladies and gentlemen, for the first time on camera. Mr. FatmanT has got to go double check his notes.
I do, yes.
It's a fucking Christmas miracle. My
There
goodness.
was, Grown Master who did it.
Not a clue. He's also new. Okay. I was hoping it was going to be like Matt Mercer or one of the other ones that I'm familiar with. But it wasn't. Oh fuck. Yeah. I hadn't planned for this. I did not plan for you to name someone I hadn't heard of yet. Speaking of having not heard of things, I'll tell you something I've never heard of apparently.
What's that?
Fucking planning ahead. I've run out of tobacco, so I need to disappear and go fucking raid my stash. I will be 2 minutes. Bear with me. This is what happens when Mr. Vegas fucking chugs a Red Bull before the show after a bar shift. Mr. Vegas gets forgetful as fuck. Oh, you fucking big bastard! Jesus Christ!
It was Gorn Master.
In our world, the crap.
Who?
Gorn Master.
Oh, did you miss that conversation where I was disappearing for 2 minutes?
Yes, but I heard you come back at the same time.
Ah, cool. Yeah, I wasn't back in my headphones when you started that, so, you know. Yeah, no, Mr. Vegas was silly and didn't plan ahead and ran out of tobacco, so I had to go raid my stash.
Oh, don't worry, I've got one back for one more cigarette, which I'm about to smoke, and then I'm
Oh.
going to the vapes.
In fact, I've got 2 vapes on hand, I just didn't want a vape. I wanted a cigarette, so, you know.
I'll get paid for the 2 weeks, so I've got to suck it up.
Yeah. To be fair, I still need to, like, fucking get hold of my sister and, like, go up to her bit and collect the fucking half a pouch I've left at her house, like, a month ago. That's still on my to-do list.
You believe it's still there?
Oh no, it's definitely still there. Like, she keeps reminding me every couple of days, just like, I've still got a backy, by the way. It's like, oh yeah, I'll come get that at some point, and then I don't. It's been like a month, and every couple of days she's just like, still got that there, by the way. Just, oh yeah, shit, I'll come grab that in a couple of days, and then, like, for a week goes by, and she's like, by the way, oh shit, fucking.
See, I might have just enough to buy another pouch, but it's like 2 weeks, and it'll probably last me a week. I've still got a week without anything.
Yeah, I mean, I've got like £1.20 in the bank, so like, I'm fucked.
Hang on. Sorry,
I think I've got about 2 weeks before I'm paid as well, so.
That's pretty close to 3 weeks, actually.
And even then, like, even when I get paid, I can't spend it because, like, you know, I'm saving up for September when I go on my religious pilgrimage.
Basically 2 weeks on the 9th before I get paid again.
Fun.
Yeah.
When is the 9th? When is that?
Wednesday.
That's Wednesday. Cool. Well, do you know what happens on the 8th?
What's that?
The new PS Plus games come out. Well, hey, free shit. Well, excuse me while I just go hang myself for oohing at free games for PlayStation Plus. That's
But I do get double pay that week. I get me Pip and me.
Oh.
On that week.
Sexy.
Yeah.
I think I'm
afraid when I get one every 2 weeks. That spreads the money up better.
I'm due about £500 when I get paid, so that'd be nice.
Yeah, probably brought up with elves is the fact that they live so long.
Yes.
How do you context that into the game world itself? Same with other long species such as like dwarfs and gnomes are doing considered like long lived. But the biggest give the analog based on science why things live longer. So you give like sponges and like corals and stuff live hundreds of thousands of years because they just don't move.
Fuck off! Sponges aren't alive. You can shut the fuck up.
Sea sponges, you twat.
Even then, SpongeBob isn't real. He's a cartoon character. He's not alive, cutting about, talking to starfish. You can shut the fuck up.
Did I mention
that was Nickelodeon, not the fucking Discovery Channel, FatmanT.
Well, to be fair, the problem with SpongeBob there is the fact that Bikini Bottom refers to Bikini Atoll, where the detonation strikes, so it could be a SpongeBob and a talking starfish by this point.
It wouldn't surprise me. You know, that is what, like, fucking, what are they called? Fucking, the things that fucking fall out. The fish things, what are they called? Fucking...
Which fish things?
You know the big angry crab... Mirelurks!
Murlocs, yes.
Mirelurks, they're probably a thing now.
Probably. So's Godzilla.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's referred to for one thing. So, they live long because they don't move very far. Or at all.
Yeah.
Now, the other one you compared to is other long-lived species such as whales, sharks. It was one other one I can't remember what it was now. We compared it to. But they live long times because in species of whales is they don't mutate at all, pretty much.
Yeah, because like, there's like a whale cutting about right now that was still about when fucking Christopher Columbus was doing his shit.
Yeah.
I think it's a whale. It's either a whale or a shark. It's one of the two.
It's a whale. It's a sperm whale, actually. It's Moby Dick.
Because I think his name's like John or something. They give it like a really dull name. I think they named it like John or something stupid like that.
Yeah. And you give also man like turtles, that type of stuff. But they take turtles like slow moving. Whereas
No, they are slow moving.
Turtles are, by comparison to other animals.
If you glue a turtle to the roof of a Lamborghini, it goes just as fast as the Lamborghini.
Yes, then it goes red paste inside of a shell.
What if you put it inside the Lamborghini? Would it still die from like the G-force or?
Well, if it did, you did as well.
Well, see, that was my argument, because you can like duct tape a guy to the roof of a Lamborghini, and he's not going to fucking die. He's not going to have fun, but he's not going to die.
Yes, but our body pressure from our internal circulation system is stronger to counterforce some effects. And same with our muscle fibers, where a turtle is more squishy.
Well, I guess fuck turtles then. Like,
I mean,
at that point, it's survival of the fittest. Let them go fucking extinct. They're clearly shit.
I mean, if you put a snapping turtle on there, they'll probably be alright.
They'll probably just eat the car. Let's face it, with snap, they'll just eat the fucking car. Like,
they'll get revenge on you eventually.
Yeah, it'll chew its way through the fucking roof, you know, like.
I'm coming for you, bitch. I mean, whoever thought snapping turtles would make good household pets were fucking insane.
But they seem pretty chill, like.
They are one of the most aggressive species on the planet.
No, like, I feel like, even if the snapping turtle wanted to fuck my day up, I could outrun it. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I could outrun a snapping turtle. They're not that fast.
On land, maybe. In water, no chance. They're quite fast.
I don't know. Like, I'm not saying I can outswim a snapping turtle, because I can't swim full stop. But I feel like if it was like shoulder deep water, I could give it a pretty strong tussle. You know, I feel I could win that fight. I feel like I could beat shit out of a snapping turtle.
Would you win against a crocodile?
Depends on the like fight conditions. Like
in water.
Like in water, obviously, but like, do I have weaponry, or is it hand-to-hand combat?
Hand-to-hand.
Probably not. They're a bit big.
A medium-sized snapping turtle, for its species, can take out a crocodile.
Good for it. I could still beat the snapping turtle, but I couldn't beat the crocodile because it's too big. It's too cumbersome. It's too long. Whereas the snapping turtle, it's nice and echo. You know, I can headlock that fucking thing.
You believe snapping turtles are small? How big do you think snapping turtles are, may I ask?
They're about the size of my table here. They're like, I don't know. I don't actually know, like what, 18? 20-inch circumference, give or take?
That's a baby.
I could still fucking kick shit out of it.
I
mean, I've seen a fully grown snapping turtle at a zoo, and I could have fought that snapping turtle.
Fought took your head off? Maybe.
Yeah, like, I feel like I could have won against that particular snapping turtle. It was quite an old snapping turtle. It was like 72. I feel like I had a good shot there. Like, it was an old fucking turtle. I feel like, you know, Zimmer frame McSnappers over there. He wasn't exactly in the prime of his turtle-based life anymore. You know, if it was a snapping turtle in his prime, it might be a bit more of a difficult battle, but I feel like I'd still have a decent chance. I feel like it would be a solid 40-60 split to the turtle there, you know, like...
Coming to pay-per-view, Vegas versus the Snapping Turtle of Doom.
Bet. Fucking, someone phone ESPN, get that shit fucking booked. Like, I'll turn up.
I mean,
we built a wrestling ring and a diving tank, right? I'll go in there in a scuba suit and I'll fight the fucking snapping turtle, bet. I'll twat a snapping turtle off his skull with a steel chair underwater. Fuck it. It'd be a
To be honest, right, that could make a pay-per-view for Death Row inmates. You want a chance to live in the day, boys? Here we go then. Dangerous animal wrestling. If you survive, you get to live another day. If you don't, well...
Right, that's literally gladiatorial combat again. We're not allowed to do that. We already did that with the Romans. We're not allowed to do it again. We tried it and it was deemed illegal.
Yes, but we're doing the pedophiles, like the pedophiles and stuff, so I don't care.
Still.
If I buy an island in international waters, they can't stop me.
I mean, at that point, fuck the island. Just buy a boat and sail it into international waters and put a wrestling ring on the boat.
Well, there are some of those prisons now...
It would be cheaper. It would be cheaper to buy a big fuck-off boat than a whole island.
Well, fine enough, though, there is plans by the American government, as well as the British one, to basically convert old oil tankers into giant floating prisons.
Yeah. Because we didn't learn our lesson from Australia. Or America, thinking about it.
No, the ships aren't going to make landfall. They're just going to sit there in the natural waters.
I mean, still, just... Like, we did that to America. We put all the criminals there, and what did they do? They rebelled against us, and now they're a country. Then we tried again with Australia. What did they do? They rebelled against us, and now they're a country that can't even win a war against an emu, which makes it more embarrassing that they won that rebellion. You know, like,
No.
what makes us think it's going to be any difficult just because the land's made out of metal instead of dirt and shit?
To be fair with Australia, they didn't exactly win their freedom. It's a case of we explored Australia a little bit, saw what the island was like, and thought, fuck that, we're leaving.
We went, fuck it, you just can have it.
Yeah. Have fun. If you survive, well, you can set your own government up.
And then they did.
Barely.
I don't know, they're doing alright for themselves, are the Australians.
No, I think Australia kinda. Right, there's plenty of people on the coast side, but there's still like a large swath right in the middle which has no one living there whatsoever.
Yeah, but like, they both have an excuse of there's murder death monsters living there. You know, like Canada has bears and shit. The Canadians kind of have an excuse. With the Australians, you got like huntsman spiders and the hunchback snapping fucking pterodactyl and shit like that cutting about the deserts. You know, snakes as yet untouched by the grace of sunlight kind of monsters.
You see, that's the problem that China could solve its overpopulation problem.
Send everyone to fucking Australia.
Yeah, see, look, throw the Australia go, see, look, there's a bit here in the middle where no one lives. Can we set like a colony up maybe there, you know? A colony or two? The odds of them surviving are low, but you know, give them a chance.
Ken what, Australia'd probably fucking take that bet. They'd be like, yeah, fucking, Ken what, pay us a couple grand a month, bet. You can rent the outback off us. Fuck it. The Aussies will probably take that deal.
And they're sitting and right, place your bet, how long will this village survive?
One fucking moron's like, 6 years! No. Bookie wouldn't even let him place the bet. He's like, no, Dave, no, take your money and get out.
We're measuring
They're not going to
here.
last that long. I'm not going to let you waste your £10. No. Get out of my bookmaking establishment, pal.
We're measuring the time in fucking minutes, not fucking months.
No, you're of all the people I know, you're probably the cunt that knows the answer to this question. Why is it called a bookmakers? They don't make books.
Well, it's got a book.
They don't have a printing press. They're not a bookmaker. So why are they called a bookmaker?
There's two. No one actually knows. There's two possible answers to it.
Okay.
Because books were originally all handwritten out by copy.
Right.
Right. So one theory was a bookie is the only person that can actually write at the time during betting situations. So because they're the only person who's actually literate, they wrote out the bet sheets. And since most people could write were bookmakers or nobles, that's where one of the terms came from.
But even then, like sheet maker, sure, or bet slip maker, sure. But they're not making books. The bet sheets aren't a book.
The
It's a
other
little bit of paper.
The other one, well, no, actually, bet book and word books originally.
So.
Because you put your bet months in advance in a book, which put down like what your bet was and booked a slot for it, because a lot of bets were based on slots.
Right.
So say you're gambling on like a long-term bet, which is what they're for. So you're gambling on an event that will happen a month down the line of, like, say, a jousting.
France declares war. You know.
No, so you go back a minute, because bet can go back over medieval. So you're betting on a jousting combat that's going to happen in 2 months' time.
Yeah.
By the time the event comes up, you already know who the player's going to be because it's the same ones over and over again. So you want to book a bet saying, look, I bet that Sir Frederick is going to win 3 of these jousts before he loses.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There'll be a slot on a sheet of paper saying, Sir Frederick, how many jousts is going to win before he loses. And you would put his name there and book that slot for him only. So no one else can make that same bet as he did.
I see.
Bit with the old sweepstakes used to work.
Yeah.
Pick a name for this bear, and the one who gets it right wins it, and you've got like 50 names on a bear sheet for the name type thing. Betting was very similar to that from the olden days. It evolved more as we got more used to doing maths for odds and shit, but that's essentially what it was.
I mean, fair.
But anyway, back onto our original topic.
Yes, back to topic. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so he's equating elves to like whales and sharks who live long lifespans and are still keep a pace of what we would call somewhat active and modern, like how we are now as mammals. Our activity of eat, sleep, and move on, and that type of stuff. Now, the way it works out is whales live so long because they don't genetically change. There's no mutation in the cells very often.
Yeah.
Compared to what humans have. And the other one is the shark, which is just built to be doggedly to live. It's a killing, eating, swimming machine, basically. So it doesn't get anywhere else but its own survival. Right? Excuse me. So the problem with
Breathe,
elves...
FatmanT. Get it out.
So the problem with elves is, if you look at lore as a whole part across D&D and other fantasy settings, is if the elves live a long time because they don't mutate very often,
Yes.
then there's no reason, given how slow their breeding cycle is, for one thing, there shouldn't be that many different species of elves. At all.
Well, yeah, no, there easily could be.
No,
I would
couldn't.
argue. Yes.
Only way you could say there's not that many species of elves is if you use magic.
Well, no, because whales.
Yeah.
There's lots of species of whales.
There's not.
There is.
There isn't.
You got like the orca whale.
That's not a
you
whale.
got the big whale. What's it? The blue whale, I think it is. Can't fucking remember. The white whale. The great whale. There's that weird whale that's like technically a shark. The one with the fucking brush teeth. There's that.
That's a shark.
You know, fucking yeah. It's technically a shark, but like it's also technically a whale. It's weird as fuck.
If you want to go off species of whales alone,
Like,
hang on.
there's lots of whales.
There's not.
There is.
There isn't.
There is.
There isn't.
There really is. There's lots of whales.
There's not.
And also, fuck you. The orca is a whale. It's literally called the orca whale.
No, orca's a dolphin.
Ah, but it's called a whale.
It's
So
not called
it's a whale.
It's called an orca. We call whale. The term whales is for the idiots to understand it.
Yeah, it's called the orca whale.
It's not
So
called
it's a
the
whale.
killer whale. Its actual name is Orcarosis.
Yeah, and the killer whale. So it's a whale. Fuck you.
It's not a whale.
It's an orca whale. It's a killer whale. The orca whale. It's a whale.
You can argue this to more.
Whale is in the name.
It doesn't matter. It's not
It
a
does.
whale.
It's in the name.
I don't give a shit. It's scientifically it's a dolphin, so it doesn't count. So fuck you.
Well, then the scientists should have called it the fucking killer dolphin, shouldn't
They
they?
did. That's what orca
The
translates
orca
to.
dolphin. No, but they
Orca
didn't,
translates to
did
killer
they? They
dolphin.
called it the killer whale. Therefore, fuck you, science. It's a whale.
Orca translates from Latin to kill a dolphin. You twat.
Well, you know, I don't speak Latin, so they should have fucking named it killer dolphin in English too. It's not my fault I didn't go to fucking university. I'm fucking lower class. I couldn't afford the train.
But no, despite your protests, there's not many species of whales.
There's loads.
There isn't.
There's like 40 whale types. There's loads.
There's not. There really isn't.
There is. There's
There
fucking... There's like at least 10 whales.
Hang on.
Baby whales as well. Can't forget about the baby whales.
What whale species? Let's have a look.
And you can even look at human beings. There's lots of us. You know, you got the white ones, you got the black ones, you got the yellow ones, you got the red ones, you got like the tannish ones, you got the brown ones. There's like 9 different colours of like just fucking John. And even then, those 9 are split up into little subcategories based on what particular bit they're from. You know, and the fantasy settings themselves even explain how there's that many elves, you know? It's like I was saying earlier, like the high elves, they live in the meadows and shit, and they make wine, and that's why they're cunts. You got like the wood elves who live in the forest, and that's why they're good at nature shit. You know, and that's why they all look different, because they've evolved to adapt to their natural environments. You got the sea elves, who are otters, but less cool. Like, And also they're blue for some fucking reason. Still can't quite figure out why they're blue. Like, I get water's technically blue, but it's a reflection illusion. The water's not actually fucking blue, lads. But hey ho.
Right, there's 6 common species of whales.
Yeah, there's like 4 common species of like elf. Like it makes perfect sense. Frankly, that one particular fucking disagreement that DM had was just polycock.
No, I
evolution, baby.
It's sort of no.
Yes, I've already explained.
Right, can I finish before you dive off into the deep end, numbnuts?
No, fuck you.
What's the
bollocks! I broke a pen. Oh god, there's ink everywhere. Oh fuck.
Yes, every time.
It's gone. I'm covered in ink, FatmanT. It's gone wrong. Oh, bollocks.
Right.
Do I have like a bag or something nearby? Shit.
Now wait for Vegas to compose himself because he's adapted.
Bollocks. No, I'm back in a minute. I need to go like dispose of a broken pen and give my hands a wash. Hang on.
Yep.
Bear with me. Things have gone wrong. Things have gone terribly wrong.
So Vegas is wrong on every account.
Oh god. Oh god. Oh, it's gone everywhere. Oh.
Yep. So yeah, Vegas is completely wrong. You know, he can't. He doesn't have a content of thing in his head. We'll wait for him to come back. He's some music for you people.
Fucking ow! The pen's been disposed of, my hands are clean. Sorry about that. I was playing with a pen and it went bang.
Now that he's back, I can really abuse him.
Yes. Sorry about that, yes. I broke a pen. It was not part of the plan.
Right, the point I'm making is whales have a breed once a year.
Yeah.
So specialization them is not too bad. But given in the law, elves only breed once every like 100 years, 200 years.
Yeah. It's about that, yeah.
Right. Given how long they live, 1,000 a year, and only breed every so often, the odds of them evolving into a different species is very minimal. If you take the fact of they just don't mutate, is the reason why they live so long.
Yeah.
Right, now I've just checked how many elves are in the D&D sources.
Lots.
So you guess the number.
I think it's like 40. Last time I checked, it's like 40 odd, I think.
Well, no, in D&D, there's 16.
Okay, it's lower than I thought. I remember it being like 40 odd, so.
You have Drow, the Aquatic, the Dark, the Shinty, the Sundar, Wood Elf,
Oh,
Wild
Shinty.
Elf,
They're fun.
Shandong Kai, Averial, Eberron, High Elf, Eldridge, Sun Elf, Star Elf, and Elf.
Again, I forgot about the Sun Elves too. They're, again, quite fun.
Yeah.
I always forget about Sun Elves. They're one of those weird elves, right? They're kind of neat, but they're also just high elves, but less of a prick.
Hang on. Sun Elves are the most arrogant, highly impatient, believe they are the true elven race. Builders and leaders of the elven realms.
Yes, but also they tend to be, like, less of a prick, believe it or not. Like, they seem like they should be more of a prick, but, like, they're actually 9 times out of 10 less prickish.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, they're arrogant fucking pricks, but, like, they don't hate everyone for not being them. They just think less of everyone else. They're,
just pity them for not being great.
Yeah, whereas, like, high elves tend to look down on people and be like, oh, you're worthless. Whereas sun elves are like, you're not us, but, like, you exist. That's neat. You know, you're not gods like us, but you exist. And that's cool, too. They're surprisingly chill, usually, so...
Here's another website that says more, actually.
I've never, like, had a campaign that's had Sun Elves in it where, like, the Sun Elves have not been, like, way nicer than the fucking High Elves are. But then I've only had, like, 2 campaigns with them in it, so...
Another website apparently is 23 types of elves.
Yay! Either way, right, we'll just work with the 16, because I might fuck sitting through another list of elves.
Yeah, we'll go through the 16 because they seem to be the most common people come off.
Yeah.
Right. Now, he gives a solution to the elven problem. 2 acts. 1, elves exist for everybody else did.
Yes.
There's one possible solution.
It's a quick solution, yes.
Yeah. It's cheap and dirty, but it works. The other solution he gave was, given elven's connection to the Fae, they are magical beings somewhat, and because of their magic, they absorb the natural magic in areas, and then their bodies adapt to that area.
See, now, this is quite irritating. It's like D&D's like own lore, like the Wizard of the Coast lore, does kind of explain this, and it goes like more towards that second option.
Yeah.
Where it's like all of the elves do technically originate from the Feywild itself, and then the difference, like sub-elves, if you will, like the different variants of elves, are basically like little collections of elves that left the Feywild to go live in different environments and ended up evolving into what they are now from the base elf race.
Now the problem is, though, that creates an issue. Because if that's the explanation, is because they live there, the magic of the area affects them and changes how they look and their traits.
Yes.
That would mean, given how long elves live, if I took a wood elf,
yes,
outside of the woods,
which is why that exact explanation doesn't work,
and dumped them in the middle of the aquatic settlement for elves,
yes,
that would mean
and left them there for like a year, they would change. Yes,
but the law doesn't allow that to happen, since elves and D&D cross continents for years.
Yes,
and don't change species.
That's, and again, it's one of those bits of lore you actually have to look for to find it with D&D. D&D does again have a built-in explanation for how elves work. Where, like I said, they originate from the Feywild, and it's literally just a case of they started at the Feywild, they came into our world before humans became a thing, and then evolved to meet their natural habitats. They started in the Feywild, evolved into just elves. Most of them left the Feywild, ended up in different bits, and that's where all your different flavors of elf come from. But they were there long before the humans were. It's basically both explanations done in the one, and it means that it can work.
Yeah, but again,
you know, like, that's like most of like your official like lore around how the elves work. Like, it's, don't get me wrong, it's annoying information to fucking get your hands on. Like, it's buried across like 7 different fucking books, but like,
yeah, but it's still one of those things. Is there's still massive holes in the law.
Yes, but you have to just work with those holes. You know, like it's quite irritating. I mean, the way I personally treat elves is I treat them kind of like the whale version, if you will, where it's a case of like they don't really mutate that much. That's why they don't age. And that's why they live forever. That's why, like, in like Lord of the Rings, Legolas is like 700 years old, but he looks like he's about 12. You know, like, because like, granted, it's because Orlando Bloom was like 20 at the time. Like, Orlando Bloom was my age in that movie, and that is painful to think about. But like, because like yes. Orlando Bloom looked that good at my age, and I don't look that good at my age. Like, I look like what Orlando Bloom looks like now at my age. It's quite painful. I look like I'm in my fucking 40s. You know, but it's mainly because of sleep deprivation. But anyway.
I think Daniel Radcliffe was like 10 when he first started the Harry Potter film.
Yeah, and what was I doing at 10? Fuck all. I was... I can't actually tell you what I was doing age 10 because the statute of limitations isn't up yet. Like...
Because I don't think you were born when the first Harry Potter film came out.
Yeah.
Would you be?
I remember it. I think it was like 2004, 2005 when the first movie came out.
I think it was 2001 actually.
I'm sure it was like 2004. Oh. I remembered them coming out. I remember like 4 onwards coming out. Remember Order of the Phoenix onwards releasing. I don't remember 1, 2, and 3 releasing. But like I remember watching them. So maybe. I couldn't tell you.
Well, I've got the release date for the first one, which is the Philosopher's Stone. Ready?
Yeah.
2001.
Huh. Oh, you're right. I wasn't alive when the first one came out then. Ah, well. Nah, even still. Like, I said, elves can be a nightmare for world building.
Yeah, I mean,
They really can. Like,
yeah, which is like what people saying. It's one of the odd species because although it lets you create a variety of species and races using elves,
yeah,
it comes to the problem to explain why they exist.
Yeah, I mean the easier solution that I tend to find, if you want elves to be in your world, is basically take like the length you had in mind for like how long the history of your world was gonna be, right? Mm-hmm. Take that timeline, and then whack like say 3,000 extra years on it.
Yeah.
And then those 3,000 years, that's how long it took elves to fucking evolve. Elves were cutting around for that length of time, then the humans turned up, and now it's now. You know, that's the quick solution.
Out in the manga and anime world, they have several solutions to this problem. Believe it or not.
Yes.
One is not all elf species live the same at the time.
Yes.
In fact, one of us was watching Gate. They have an elf species there called the fairy elves, which is the wood elves.
Yeah.
Now, because they're part spirit, they live practically immortal. But whereas the wood elves, high elves, only live about maximum of about 400-500 years.
Yeah.
Which explains the speciation of their side is not all species have the same origin or cross-species same origin type thing.
Mm-hmm.
Which is one way of looking at it, saying like there's different varieties of elves because they bred with something else.
Yeah. Sorry if you can hear my dog going schizo in the background, by the way. I don't know what his problem is.
It's a dog.
Yeah. He's probably been left on a room on his own for 5 seconds. That's probably what his problem is.
Sing some of my people, because I've been abandoned.
Yeah, you know.
But like I say, again with D&D, don't. Although there's a lot of homebrew, people do a lot of homebrew stuff with species.
Yeah.
At the core, when you're doing homebrew, you pick a species and then you like cross it with something else, but you don't really change much of the core aspect.
Yeah.
Of that. So, like, say you might get like a, which would be a very uncommon one, would be an elf dwarf hybrid,
Yes.
which would be fucking hilarious as a character. But
I have seen those characters happen before, to be fair, and they are quite fun.
yeah,
They tend to be interesting little creatures.
I have a match with a farewell. I'm going to smack your head with this giant hammer.
Yes. Oddly enough, they tend to end up making a thing that just looks like a human. They tend to like literally just look like a half elf, which is just about the size of a human. So traditionally, a half elf is like human elf. But like elf dwarf also makes just half elf that's about the same size as a human.
Probably stronger.
It's weirdly enough. Yeah, it just gets a plus to its stat, like its strength stat instead. It's weird as fuck, and I love it.
What's interesting when I saw someone do was a halfling Goliath crossbreed.
Yes.
I felt sorry for that poor halfling, whichever side it was.
I don't know if it was a halfling male. It was a male halfling.
It was a male halfling. He was used as a dildo.
Yes, he was, and not an effective one at that.
Yeah, it was a female halfling. Oh dear lord!
If it was a female halfling, and then fucking Domine Patri and Spiritus Filii Sancte, if that was the case, you know, like
that poor thing ended up being a fleshlight.
Oh, it was just a portable cocksock. That's all she was. I'm writing that down. I'm using that as an insult from now on. Fucking, I'm not calling people slags anymore. No, you're a fucking portable cocksock. That's my new version of slag now. Fucking, get that written down, folks. Portable cocksock. Fucking, you heard it here first.
That reminds me. Do you see that gay guy go off it in Starbucks?
No, I don't follow my community anymore.
No, the reason I mentioned it for because it created a beautiful insult.
Oh.
From another guy. Right, because this gay guy's going off it, just like throw shit around Starbucks and yeah, go on bitches, clean that up. And one of the baristas turns and says, right, if you keep this shit up, I'm gonna beat you so bad, I'll knock the gear back out of you.
That is pretty good. That is pretty good.
They'll do one. I think it's two. That was that one. They'll do one like, "I'll beat your ass straight."
Yeah. I always preferred "fuck your ass straight." I always preferred that. Like, I like the idea of you could fuck a gay man so hard in the ass it reverts him back into liking women. Like it's on my bucket list. It's on my bucket list to fuck a femboy so hard I make him straight again. Cause what a shitpost would that be?
Come here, Timmy.
How good would it be to fuck a femboy straight? How fucking good would that make you feel? Your cock is so overwhelming you can't stand to look at a cock ever again in his life that isn't his own. That's the dream right there, baby. That's what every man on planet Earth wants. They want to fuck a gay man straight again. Oh, well, that's us demonetized again. Yeah, That's...
We were monetized?
Well, we were when we first hit stream. We're not anymore.
The odds of us ever getting monetized is...
The odds of us ever making a profit. Never mind being demonetized, the odds of us making money out of this shit, ever. Like, even through donations. It's just... zero. We'll have to spend all the donation money paying off the fucking fines we get paid and get issued every month.
I said the lawsuits alone we're going to have to...
Fuck, that's it. The broadcast fines will be the thing that takes us down. Never mind the fucking lawsuits. The broadcasting fees that do us, you know? Oh, you said fuck arse before the fucking watershed pays 10 grand. And... sorry, the BBC. I mean... And that's why we're not on the television, so that we don't have to do that shit.
Now, other long-lived species you may have in your world.
Yes.
Such as, like, gnomes and dwarfs don't have...
Well, see, gnomes and dwarves aren't as troublesome. Even if you're making a setting where, like, gnomes and dwarves live for thousands of years. Not that because they live underground.
Yeah, not just that, though. Like, say with gnomes and dwarfs, like, say the biggest problem with elves is how many different varieties of species they exist in the world.
Yeah.
In the campaign itself. From just the core brewbook of D&D, never into homebrew shit. Whereas dwarfs, yeah, like, maybe 2, maybe 3 different species. I think Beyond only has 2.
Yeah, I think there's 2.
Hill and
beyond.
Dwarf, they have.
Yeah.
On the basic rules. And I think Gnome's the same thing. Only 2.
Yeah, I think gnomes. I know Rock Gnome is one of them, and there's another gnome.
Rock Gnome and Deep Gnome.
Deep Gnome, that's the other one.
Yeah. They're the 3 ones they have. So, even by comparison, there isn't that many species areas. There's like very many like half races of half gnome, half dwarf type things out there.
Yeah.
It's not common homebrew to make a half dwarf, half gnome type creature. Most because people don't like the idea of like the idea of, what is that though? It's I think the most biggest problem is though elf looks humanish enough and adult enough to sleep with. And
yeah.
Create a character, whereas dwarves and gnomes are about the size of like 10-year-olds and like 5-year-olds.
Yeah.
Which creates a mental image in people's mind which like doesn't like suit well. To be honest.
Then you get psychopaths like me.
Yeah.
We were just not even phased by that shit because the piece of paper says they're old enough.
I mean, hang on. How big are halflings actually?
3 foot, I think. I think halflings are about 3'5". Do you remember rightly? Halflings are half gnome, half elf. I want to say. I think.
3 foot tall, weigh 40 pounds.
Yeah.
And they live, apparently according to this, halflings can read the I'm reading an actual race thing here.
Yeah, yeah.
Like the Lightfoot ones, I think. Age, halflings reach adulthood by age 20 and generally live in the middle of his or her second century. 3 foot tall, speed 25. They're not lucky though.
Yeah, so they live what, about 200 a year?
About
200 years. Yeah.
Right, now, hang on, let's go for a high elf. Let's go for a high elf, out of curiosity's sake. So they say about their age. Because I'm curious what the rules are for D&D for age for high elves.
I remember rightly, I think they average out to about 700. It's like 700-800 years, if I recall. It's been a while since I had to work with an elf, though, so...
Hang on, although elves reach physical maturity the same age as humans, the elven understand that the adult goes beyond physical grown and encompasses a wide experience. Until elf claims adulthood and adult name around the age of 100 and can live to 750.
Yeah, I wasn't that far off, actually.
And they range from 5 foot to 6 foot tall. So actually smaller than humans, actually.
Yeah, because I think the humans max out at 7.
That's a high elf. Now, I'm curious about Falmir. He's a wood elf. I wonder how old he can be.
I think their max is 600 odd. Again, it's been a while. I want to say they're at like 600.
No, it's apparently the same for wood elf as well.
700?
750. The only thing that changes is like ability stats.
Yeah.
But everything else is about the same. Only thing that changes, like say the skin tones, that type of stuff. Yeah.
Skin tone and height, I think, are like differences.
Nope, the height's still the same because it's basically got the way it's done it. It's got elf traits, so like ability score, age, size, speed, and the basic elf traits.
Yeah.
Then they break down in the subclasses.
Ah.
So the elder variant gets ability score to intelligence +1, elf arm training, and face step. High elf gets cantrips and extra language.
Yeah.
And wood elf gets Fleetfoot and Mask of the Wild.
Fair enough then. No, like.
So
I mean, in our campaign, elves will be making an appearance. They are in the campaign.
So hang on, let's talk about the dwarves.
And honestly, they're not that hard for this campaign to make fit. Because like this is like my first really big tip when it comes to Dungeon Masters is if you're making like a campaign and shit, right? Like, and you want to do like history and stuff for your campaign, is don't write your history all the way back to the founding of man and shit like that, right? Like the way I like to do things is I basically give myself about 600 to 800 years of like recorded history of like this is the shit we've like your like characters are probably going to know about just through history knowledge.
Yeah.
Anything outside of that, probably not going to know, so I don't need to care until it's a thing that's going to crop up in the story, and then I don't need to explain where the races came from and like when they came into existence, because it was, you know, fucking millennia ago. You know, like most people on the continent don't know anymore because it was that fucking long ago. Only your scholars really know that shit. And 9 times out of 10 when I'm doing a campaign, educated people like scholars are not turning up for quite some fucking time. Mainly so that I have time to flesh out that extra bit of shit.
Well, no, we do. What I
You know, like...
Go and do, like... You have world building up to a certain point. So you go back, say... Common history, about 600 years.
Yeah.
About 6 generations of humans, or 1 generation of elves still.
Yeah, like I said, you give yourself 600 to 800 years of just... This is the history that people are probably going to be familiar with.
Yeah.
If it was any further back than that, you don't need to care right now. You can make it work like 10 sessions later down the line.
Then what you do, you create what's called lost history.
Yes.
So there's a rune here. Well, as part of the lost history, we don't know anything about it. And then you set your party off up to go and explore the rune, and then you put in flavor text of what would have happened here.
Yeah.
A great one who does this a lot is Elder Scrolls. Do that.
Yeah, see, but the thing with that as well is like you don't even have to make it like a lost history thing. You can make it more of like to the average person, like your average guy, like down the tavern. It's lost history because he doesn't give a fuck. He's not a historian. But like actual historians in the world are already very familiar with what happened there because they went and investigated it 200 years ago and then wrote down what happened, then fucked off because there was nothing valuable there. Like, you can kind of explain it away like that.
Yeah, it's like certain scholars, like, say you found the ruin, no one in the area knew anything about it. So they say, oh, it's been there for, I think about 5,000 years. Well,
yeah.
5,000 years ago, no one knows. Well, was this one happened to be a scholar came by from what you social university, now you go find that twat.
Yeah, like you can use that to make a really good like little side quest as well. Of like, yeah, like matter of fact, like yeah, a scholar who came by like a couple of weeks ago, but he's not come back. And, you know, like, and then you can use that to then introduce like a new villain arc of like, yeah, so like there was a necromancer living in the ruins, and no one had noticed because no one goes to the ruins, and the necromancer kidnapped this fucking scholar to make him a zombie or something. You can play with it, you know, like it's you can take that basic idea of ruin that no one's explored for 5,000 years, and very quickly get to new character, new enemy, new storyline to follow, bada bing, bada boom, in like 10 minutes.
Or,
just off of that one core idea of ruin.
Hang on, my dog's been a dick. Yes,
you know what, you're fine. Yeah, once FatmanT comes back, we'll continue with it. Yeah, like I said, you can do a lot with those like more little core ideas, you know, like
another one you could do, which is what IO's done, is they've got what they call core runs. So there's core 1, which like I think there around 4 campaigns in core 1 of different people.
Yeah,
that's at the base history for that section.
Yeah.
Then they create other cores on top. So I think like Pipe Dreamers, when I'm watching, I think is a core run 4, I think 4 or 5.
Yeah.
To the point that one of the early campaigns they did, we had a paladin on there, and that paladin is now considered a god figure in the world, a legendary figure, which they have statues of them around places which they kind of now and again run into.
Yeah.
Of this character, and that's one way you can build your history of your world by doing that. Is create a campaign that's fairly fresh on information, so it's fairly new.
Yeah.
Finish that campaign off, but then keep the world you built, change some of it, but then build on top of that of what your characters did as your lore for your next game.
Yeah. And that's what it's like.
Build levels on that
That's
way.
also a really good tip, just in general, for world building a campaign. Is like, don't make too much lore right off the bat. Give yourself enough lore to like work with to make your story and that, and then outside of that, just do a little bit, and let your players make some of the lore just through exploring. Like, to some extent, let the dice decide some of your lore here and there. Like, say your party is like exploring a ruin, right? And one of the players goes, "Oh, I want to investigate this carving." Like, you, as the DM, you've got a myriad of options that you can do with that. The way I like to do that to like end up having it create lore is like if I get the player to roll, say, a history check for it, let's say, right, and they fucking, I'll describe, you run your fingers over the carved patterns, and you know the story very well. You remember hearing it countless times as a child, and I'll tell you what you see, and then leave it up to you to actually tell what the story is. I'll give you little ideas to make a story with, like, there's the carving of an ancient snake, and a mighty warrior wielding an axe, like ready to behead the snake, and give you little snippets like that, and then you can then tell the rest of the party what that story is. Be it, this is a carving depicting the tale of the ancient hero Valarag, slayer of foe, and it tells the story of how he slayed the mighty world-eating snake Bulgon, and how he decapitated the snake. Or maybe it's the other way around of, the snake was the hero, or the person was the hero, but this is the final story of this hero, as this was his last great attempt at triumph, but he stumbled at the last hurdle and got eaten by a fucking snake. Or like, I'll give you those core little snippets to make a story with, and then let you actually build the lore around that idea.
Yeah.
And then that's what the history of this world is now. Whatever bollocks the player came out with, that's how it is now. And even outside of that, like, sometimes your players will just make lore for you by fucking accident. Like you'll have a scene, I've had this happen too many times, you'll have a scene happening, like, you're in the middle of this city, what do you want to do? And they go, okay, who's around? And you're like, oh, there's a market on. There's a couple of merchants selling wares at the market. Okay, we're gonna go talk to some of the merchants. What merchant do you want? What kind of merchants are there? Alright, there's a weaponsmith, a jewelry maker, and a wood carver. We're gonna go talk to the wood carver. Why are you talking to the wood carver? They go off and talk to the wood carver, and now you have to make a character. And like, hello there, wood carver. And you're now just kind of forced to make a character on the spot, which is always great fun. And this is gonna loop into another advice in a second. Make this character, and then, like, you can have that character turn up again, and now it's part of your world's lore that guy exists. And now he's a character you can use whenever the fuck you need an extra guy. And this is the main reason why I'm talking about this, is it leads to a really big piece of, like, advice, especially for people who are just getting into doing Dungeon Mastering, is my honest to god best bit of advice for a new Dungeon Master is don't become the Dungeon Master right off the bat. Go play a couple of campaigns, or like even just a handful of sessions as a player, not as the Dungeon Master. Like go on like Reddit and find like an LFG looking for a group page, and like join a handful of campaigns, and just make it aware to the DM in the group, like, here, I'm gonna be here for like 2 or 3 sessions. I just want to get an idea of how things work.
Yeah.
Most of them aren't gonna give a shit, and they're like, yeah, sure, you can join us for like 2 sessions, sure. Make it like a different character for each session. And then when you're, well, each session, but each of the campaigns, and like make a handful of extras, and then when you're done, take all those character sheets, right, put them to the side, and now assign them professions for their retired adventuring life.
Yes.
What did they do when they stopped being an adventurer? You'd be like, okay, this character was a bard. Okay, he retired from like the traditional partying life, like the adventuring life he was leading in this campaign, and he purchased a tavern, and now he has a permanent place he plays. So he owns this tavern, he's got some staff running it for him, and he just lives there, and he plays on stage now. There you go, that's a whole character with a cool backstory, ready to go. Bang! Next guy, barbarian. Like, you can just go through that list. Now you've got like 15 NPCs that you can bring out whenever you need a new guy. You have to be like a merchant or a traveling poet or anything you could need, even bartenders. You know, like.
Also, a good way of doing it is create what's called blank NPCs. But
Yes.
give them a full stat sheet and ability scores.
Yeah.
Because view with those is, say that.
Say your players decide we're going to randomly murder this like good for nothing NPC that you didn't expect them to murder.
Yeah.
You have all the information you need to run combat with that character.
Or not that though. Say part of RP work, right, is your character infiltrating a bit like a castle or something or facility or whatever.
Yeah.
Is you can create a character, an NPC, and have that NPC join the party as a combatant.
Yeah.
Which you control, which can change the course of the battle, that type of stuff. Or say that one of your players has to drop out for a session.
Yeah.
Hint, hint. What happened to us?
Yeah.
You have an NPC which can fill that spot to keep the party numbers up. So you definitely need like 4 party members to do this one quest, and the other 3 want to play. You've got a random NPC that can come along, join in that group for that one session, and you can kill them off at the end or part ways, that type of stuff, up to how you RP it.
Yeah.
But it gives you the ability to allow the game to continue by just injecting something random into the situation.
Yeah, the other thing is like, you have to be very careful when you're doing a DM NPC. Because, like if that character, even if it's just plain and simple luck of the dice, if that character starts doing too good,
yeah,
you know, you start getting accused of shit, you know, and if the character starts doing too bad, you start getting accused of shit. Like, you genuinely have to cheat to not get accused of cheating sometimes as a dungeon master. Mm-hmm. And it's very annoying at times. She's like you roll a dice and you're like, if I tell people what I just rolled, I'm getting accused of fudging my roll. So I have to fudge the roll to not get accused of fudging this roll and be like, it's a 16. I rolled a nat 20. It's a 16. You know, like.
Which is why I quite like. Be honest, from like my side of point of view, is like a lot of the games where they just roll dice off screen. So they're doing a difficult game, and everyone's got their own dice dish and just rolling dice off screen. Oh, I rolled this. I rolled that.
Yeah.
You don't know if it's true or not. And you think, well, is he cheating or is he not? It creates a bit of distrust in the game.
Yeah.
Whereas using a VTT, or even just using Beyond as a game, they do the dice rolls for you, and therefore you know it can be accused of cheating.
Yeah.
At all, because it's all recorded and it's. Let's you do like with the DM do like fate rolls, which are like not showing up, and that. But for general, like say you're doing general combat with the NPC, the rule will be made public anyway for everyone to see. So,
yeah, like if you're doing like a VTT game, you don't have to worry about it because like your players will see your rolls happening and like know you're not cheating.
Yeah.
But like just my advice is being given at just a general perspective of dungeon mastering in general, so it's applicable to like everyone really. It's just to keep that in mind. Like if you're at home and you're thinking like doing a DMPC for your campaign, just keep that in mind. And also don't have them turn up too often either, is something I would say as well. Like definitely like if you want like a character that like you use as like a support for the party that turns up here and there, feel free. Just don't have them always along for the adventure. Have it be like they turn up when shit's getting serious. Like, oh, there's this big fight that's gonna go down. Like, we're gonna need some backup. And like fucking, oh, there's like 3 other adventuring parties in the town. Let's go talk to them and see if we can rally some troops. And one of them's led by like the DMPC that turns up every once in a while. Cool, he'll help us. We're friends. That's a great way to use that type of character.
Or you can have
have them as like the support guy who is a friend of the party and is like, oh shit, you guys need help? I'm down. Like.
Or you can have a key pointer. So say your main quest is investigating like a lich or something like that.
Yeah.
Right, being tasked by a kingdom to go and find this lich, but the king says, "Oh well, I sent off one of my great court mages to start investigating as well."
Yeah.
Right, and we can do it from that point of view, like some like key points in the game. This mage will turn up.
Yeah, when shit's getting like particularly magic and dangerous,
and
the king gets worried and goes, "Go investigate that shit." Like.
Yeah. That way,
like I would say, always give like those kinds of characters a reason for why they're turning up outside of they're an adventurer.
Yeah, so like the mage idea of like the mage scholar investigating the cause of the lich is a good one.
Yeah.
Investigating places linked to this glitch wizard or whatever it is, and just search around. That way, you got a character who will give you information you might be lacking, if your dice rolls permit it.
Yeah.
And if said case needed, you have a character which can give you some backup.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing I'll say for the DM is don't build that character immortal.
Yeah, let them be able to, even if it's a character where, like, I want them to turn up again in the story later down the line, because it'd be really neat. Like, you don't know what your players are gonna do.
Yeah.
Your players might decide they fucking hate this character with a passion and stab them in the head. So, like, don't hold your breath.
Mm-hmm.
And also, they might just be shit at combat. Even though you've built them to be really good at combat, you might just get fucking shit dice rolls all night, and they fucking die.
Well, that's
just like part of being a DM is you have to be able to roll with those punches of, didn't expect that fucking character to get killed off today. Oh well. What do I do now? And coming up with a plan on the spot.
One thing I would say is, if you plan on doing like an NPC type build for that purpose, I'll just using like dice rolls more for stats rather than being worried about like specific stat builds.
Yeah.
And if you've got them built, right, do yourself a favour and at level 1, if your character start at level 1, players start your NPC at level 1 and grow them as the campaign goes along.
Yeah.
So every time your players gain a level, your helper NPCs also gain that same
Gain
level.
a little level. Yeah, like,
or gain the
like,
level.
I mean, it depends on the character, to be fair. Like, if it's like you were saying, like, oh, they're the court wizard.
Yeah.
Yeah, if the party's level 1, it makes sense the court wizard's going to be more powerful. They work for the king.
Yeah,
like, you make that guy level 5 or something, like, sure. But if he's just like a chuckle fucking, like, one of, like, the night guards or some shit, yeah, he can be level 1. Who gives a fuck? He's infantry. Like, he's infantry, but his dad had some money. He's level 1. It doesn't matter. Like, it's...
All we could do is, what I was thinking, is give them the level you expect your party to be at, if they're there or not.
Yeah.
So, say you expect your party to at least done some side quests to gain extra levels. Say you're doing what we're doing with the milestone leveling.
Yeah.
Right? You can set up saying, right, I expect before they take on this particular dungeon for the main quest, they should be done some of these side quests and got to at least this level.
Well, that's what you do anyway. Like, as Dungeon Master, when you're planning out the campaign, it's like, okay, this is what they're going to take on here and there and there. That's why monsters have what's called a CR, or a combat rating. It's so that you can, when you're building your encounters, you can build it, like, tailored to the level of your party. Mm-hmm. And you plan ahead, like, 3 or 4 dungeons down the line of, okay, by the time they get here, they should be about level 5. So I can get away with shit that's up to, but not exceeding, CR5.
Yes.
Like, I can get away with a boss that's maybe a CR6 if they've got some decent equipment. Like, that's the whole point of the whole CR system. It's like, that's just something to do anyway. Regardless of what you're doing, is, like make anything involving that quest, or, like, that particular dungeon, or whatever the case is, like, tailor it for the level you expect your players to be when they're tackling it.
Yeah. Also, don't be afraid to kill players off, because a lot of people get, oh no, I don't want to kill my players because they upset me. Right?
Yeah.
It's usually the rule that's generally what's called the non-takedown, non-unconscious rule. Where
yes.
if you dog a player unconscious, unless you piss off dog. Unless your specific of that monster is that they will maul a dead unconscious person.
Yeah.
Don't attack the unconscious person. Let the fate rolls decide whether they live or die or not.
Yeah.
That's a common trope here. So don't be worried about knocking the player unconscious and let them die.
Yeah, that as well is like if like, say like you're like 10 sessions deep into a campaign, right? And one of your players do unfortunately die, right? Their character gets killed. Is like highlight it, make it a big moment, and like this is a really good piece of advice that I use quite a lot. Is let that player give their characters like a last word. And let them kind of choose what it is based on like what the scenario is. So say for example, it's like they're a paladin, right, or a dragonborn paladin, your traditional sturdy, stout, fucking warrior man, right? And he's fucking You know, you've already done the role, and you know he's fucking dead. You know, start describing the scene leading up to the death, as opposed to describing just the strike itself. Of just like, you know, fucking Gallifrax. You know, he's uses his shield and his axe, and he's fucking deflecting blows, and he's cleaving skulls, and you know, he rallies out to his party, hand the mic to the player. Player's like, okay, I need to do like a rally cry. Fight on, brothers! And then, you know, and as those final words escape the mouth, a sword plunges for it. You know, make it as a big kind of theatrical moment.
Yeah.
Like, because it's a key moment in this campaign. Is this character has died. They're a main character. It's a biggie. If a movie would highlight it, you highlight it. Is what I'm saying.
I mean, a good example of this is
like for the following session, let the players be sad. Let the characters mourn. Even if the players themselves aren't that sad because he doesn't like that character. The characters will be sad. Because they've been on the road with this fucking guy for a year and a half straight. They're gonna be a bit upset. Let them go have a little mourning session where they go to a tavern and they're drinking their sorrows away and they sit and share stories and set the next session aside. Fuck the story and set that session aside of let's grieve this character and celebrate their life and do a funeral basically. You know, and then you can pick up the story again when that player comes in with a new character to take their place.
You know, like a good example of this would be Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Right? When Gandalf is on the bridge, thy shall not pass bullshit.
Yeah.
You know,
wonderful example. You know, like
example of that kind of scenario.
The follow-up wasn't great.
No.
Of they're sad for 15 seconds and then they move on.
But
other than that, it was a good example.
To be fair though, in the book, right, of it, it's one of the reasons why Frodo leaves the party is because
Gandalf fucking died.
And the only person you trust is Gandalf. That's one of the reasons he runs off for by himself is that very reason.
Which the movie doesn't do a great job of tackling, even when you watch the extended cuts, but like
it does not.
It tried.
They make
didn't do a good job, but it tried.
They make so like it was a Gandalf of Horn who caused Frodo to run away by trying to take the ring off him, and it wasn't. Yeah, it was the fact that Gandalf died. No. I mean, they didn't help matters, but wasn't the primary reason why Frodo left.
You know, like it's.
Also,
like with Gandalf when he's climbing on the edge, just as he's like about to, quote unquote, die, and he's like, "Fly, you fools!" That's perfect. Last words to the party of like, if they're like the wizard, you know, their last word should be like some piece of encouraging advice, or you know, if they're like you're like a barbarian, it should be like some big rallying cry, or you know, like basically build the scene that's leading towards the death to fit the character and what their last words should roughly be. Based on who their character is.
Or allow your characters to create what's like an epic ending. So like, say it's going to be an impossible win fight and you have the mage, such as Gandalf.
Yeah.
Allow them, if they have it or not, to say, well, you have one dying moment, you can cast one thing to help your party. What are you going to do? And it could be, well, I cast teleport spell to teleport all the players outside the dungeon so they survive the battle. Make the sacrifice mean something. Also, make the players more upset. Type thing.
Yeah, you know, like I mean, handling a death in a party, it's difficult. You know, it's genuinely quite tricky. Unless there's a million one ways of doing it.
From what we can see online, a lot of DMs don't like to try and kill players off because players get upset at it. Don't be afraid of that, and B, also don't just take your party because your party's annoyed you by doing something stupid. Yeah.
Like, punish them for it, but, like, murdering everyone isn't a punishment. It's a fuck you. You know, like, hurt the party for sure. You know, like, make them worry, but don't actually kill them just because like, you're annoyed at them. Just worry them. You know, throw lots of little things at them for, like, 15 seconds and, like, have them shit a brick because they've lost half their health in one go.
Also,
you know?
Again, another story here online a lot is, well, my party want to do this, and they wrote nat 20, so I let them do it. No, you don't.
Yeah. No, you don't.
If it breaks the boundaries of your world, don't let them do it.
Yeah, if it's against the laws of physics.
You know, one of the common ones out here is, well, we have artificers and they decided to build a nuke. Why? Well, you wrote nat 20, so I couldn't stop them. Yes, you could have.
Yeah, you can.
Your world has not had nukes.
Like, you are like, as the dungeon master, you are literally God. you can say, no, you're not doing that. Stop being a prick.
My would say if they try to do that, and unless the player can give you a
reason.
solid, concrete RP reason for this.
Yes.
For
why does your gnome from the year 11 know how nuclear physics works?
And just say, well...
Are you a time traveler who happened to steal plutonium from the Taliban before arriving here? No? Then you're not building a nuke.
I just say, well, my God, give me the information. Doesn't work.
Yeah. Doesn't cut it. Sticky. You know, like... Because that's a lot of the advice that like DMs get given, especially like newer DMs are looking for the advice. They constantly get told, like, you know, you are God, you have to treat that with a lot of responsibility. Don't be a cunt. Don't abuse your power. You know, like, it's a storytelling experience, you know, it's improv, all that shit. You know, like... a lot of advice I hear DMs get given a lot is, like, use the term yes and. You know, build on your players' ideas. And it's great advice. But when your players are abusing...
Yes.
They are abusing that, you have to take the reins back and be like, no, I'm God. Like, God was playing nice and letting you fuck around. God now is taking the reins back so you don't find out.
Yeah,
and if you continue to fuck around, God will let go so you find out damn quickly.
Yeah,
don't be afraid to play God, basically, is what I'm saying.
It is a story-driven narrative. That is true. Mm-hmm. Right? But it's not... Other players do drive the story to some degree. They drive the story within the bounds of the world created by the God.
Exactly. That's the entire kind of job of the Dungeon Master, is to kind of guide your players. If your players are trying to do something that isn't going to work, or is impossible,
or just
make that apparent.
Oh, it's absolutely stupid. One giving advice, which we did in our actual game session, which we had, is because Little left, I took over her character for a bit, along with mine.
Yeah.
And I made the argument for a bandit to strike at disadvantage because one of the spells land on his face. Therefore, I said, well, that would create burns on his face, which could like partly blind him. So therefore, you know, he couldn't see Farmer's swing coming in. So therefore, the attack could be made at advantage. No, that's a fairly good RP reason.
Yeah,
right?
And it made sense. I was like, yeah, no, okay, It was literally like 10 seconds ago he got hit by that. Yeah, sure. Actually, that does make more sense. You're right. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
You know, because sometimes, like, especially in a combat like environment in the game, is as a DM you have a lot of shit to think about. Mm-hmm. Little details like that tend to end up slipping your mind, because like you're trying to think like 5 steps ahead of like, what can I do that's like scary but isn't like too much of a cunt move. You know, and like you're trying to plan out the moves for like 6 guys at once. And you forget, like, who got hit with what and when.
Also, don't forget time's a thing. In the world. Lot DMs I've seen forget that time exists. Unless you're doing, like, long rests or short rests. In combat, time exists.
Time exists. Like, it takes time to do things.
So, so I think where generally average work, a lot of people uses, every turn a player makes is about 5 seconds of time.
It's about that, yeah.
Right? So, the problem a lot of DMs seem to forget is, well, we've been fighting this one boss for 3 hours, right? And certain spells only last an hour.
Yeah.
Such as shape-shifting, wild shape. All that's about an hour. But yet, DM seems to forget that time exists and allows them spells to continue on for that length of like 3 hours of actual in-game combat time.
Yeah.
Don't forget that. Although it's a bit fucky to your players, they should realise themselves time exists and how long the spell duration lasts for, and then plan ahead for it.
I mean, if you're running a campaign like us, where like your players are like fairly new, let it slide. Yeah. Like, it's fine. If you're playing with like experienced people who have been at this for a couple of years now, absolutely enforce that and be like, no, fuck you, that spell expired. You know, like absolutely. You know, it depends on the party, but I'd also say is like, don't if you've not been doing it so far in your campaign, don't start doing it just out of the blue. Like, bring it up beforehand. Like, something I always recommend to Dungeon Masters, whether they're new or old, is like at the start of a campaign, you traditionally do what's called a session 0. You get all your players together and you basically lay out the ground rules of, here's what I expect from you, here's what you should be expecting from me, you know, this is what the world setup is, all that. Yeah. You know, like, so everyone's on the same page. You know, like, you're basically making like a social contract with each other of, this is what I as a DM promised to do for you. Here's what I want you to do in return. You know, like, let's negotiate these things. You know, and like, so everyone knows, you know, where the lines are, what the rules are, so on and so forth. But something I always recommend for Dungeon Masters is like, don't do session 0 at the start of the campaign and then that's that. Do another one every so often. Every handful of months. Do another one. Just like refresh everyone's memories of what the rules are. And it doesn't have to be a case of like, you've been misbehaving. No, it's just a case of, it's been a while since we went over things. Let's sit down, let's go over everything. If anyone has any questions about how things are working, we can discuss them now. You know, like, set that time aside, like, every couple of months of, like, instead of playing the game today, we're going to just go over the rules and make sure everyone is still on the same page about how things are working. And take the opportunity to then introduce... So here's this, a new mechanic I want to introduce. Is everyone comfortable with that? Does anyone have any caveats to this idea? Any suggestions? So on and so forth. You know, that way, everyone's always going to be on the same page. It also means your players feel more involved. You know, they actually are getting a say in how the campaign is going to be run in terms of the rules, and they're going to be more invested, especially if they suggest a rule system. You implement it, and it comes up. They're going to care a lot more about that rule system and how it works, because it was their idea in the first place.
Also, again, say some with new players, and they build their first character up.
Yeah.
Give it, like, 5 sessions. 5-6 sessions, introduce this and say, like, right, this is we go on. You get a couple levels and you got this character, do you know how it feels? Are you happy with this character? Or do you want to change? Right? Because then you're not so far into your RP work that explaining the character's appearance is going to be difficult. But also allows the players to think, well, yeah, I didn't quite like how this character played, I want to build something else.
And even then, like, I mean, fuck, we could be 5 sessions in, or we could be 300 sessions into a campaign. If you're not happy with your character anymore, you're not happy with that character anymore. I have no problems with a player switching characters. Mm-hmm. But, like I do, like, expect the player to, like let me kill that character off, though. They're part of the story now. Let's bring that character story to an end before you introduce this new character, and we'll do both things in one session.
Or
you know, we'll take everyone out on a big adventure. We'll get you killed off. And then we'll have a reason for why this new character comes in. Well, I said, like, we'll explain away a reason of, we're about to go on this big quest, and, you know, the character's like, guys, I've got some horrible news. My dad died. I've got to go to his funeral, and I won't be coming back, so I've got to take over the farm. But, like, my brother-in-law, John, is going to come join the party. He's a tiefling, and he's a bard, and he's going to be here in 2 hours. But I don't like him, so I'm going to go now. You know, like...
yeah.
I mean, obviously change those words, like, depending on, like, what the character is and, like... And also, like, for the character that's telling that information. Because maybe the character does like John, and John's a really cool guy. Or maybe your character and John don't get along, but John's very talented. So she gave the job to John anyway. You know, like... It's just as an example with John there. You know, like... Let's say, I don't give a shit how far we're into a campaign. If you want to change characters, you want to change characters. It's fine. Like, we'll make it work. You know, like... And it's one of the more difficult skills to gain as a DM, is the idea of we'll make it work. Because it can be a bastard to make shit work sometimes.
Also, remember, backgrounds are a thing for character builds.
Yes.
Right? It's part of the core build of a character. Don't be afraid to use that to an advantage. Say, like, you've got a... I don't know, chaotic evil character in the party of, like, neutrals.
Yes.
Right? And you want to get rid of that character... Pretty much get rid of that character and bring something else in. One thing you could do with that character is in the middle of the night, the character wakes up, steals half the shit from the party, then buggers off.
Yeah.
It's cruel to the players, but also means you should have trusted the twat in the first place. He was chaotic evil. Mm-hmm. You should have learned.
But it's something you have to kind of, like, you have to discuss with the players and the DM beforehand. Like...
No,
so obviously, if the rest of the players aren't chill with that being a thing of like, no, fuck you, don't steal half our shit, then like, don't do that.
Yeah, but
get together and be like, so, you know, Gary wants to change characters. Here's the story idea we have for why the character fucks off. Is everyone chill with that happening?
Yeah,
because it's going to fuck with you.
But you can do, even if the characters aren't happy with it, right? One thing you can do, because it's a great RP point based on the character, is make them all do a fate roll.
Yeah.
Right? If they lose a fate roll, well, tough shit. Fate decided what's happened to your party.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to use fate rolls to decide outcomes of things. For characters doing things. I know it's scary as a DM, and it's scary as players, thinking my entire world relies on this dice roll.
Yeah.
Right? But don't be, because A, it adds a bit of randomness into the story, for one thing.
Yeah.
Which is life in general. And B, it makes the players think about their actions before they do something.
Yeah.
So instead of like just saying, what's the fucking standard trope of like the bard shagging the dragon, or seducing everything and shagging it.
Yeah.
One of the ones I did love was the bard seduced the dragon and it says, right then, roll for damage. Why?
Yeah.
It was a male dragon he seduced.
I mean, that's not even a roll of fate. That's just a case of like the bard forgot to do an insight check before he fucked the dragon.
Yeah.
He forgot to check for the cock before he started saying shit. It's.
Which is a great funny bit of RP, but also means it teaches the bard a fucking lesson.
Yeah, of like stop shagging everything that comes into sight.
Yeah. Doing that allows the DM himself to think, right then, I'm getting sick of you breaking my shit, so now I'm going to break your toy. In a very bad way.
That's what it's like. See if you do have a character who, like say a bard or even a warlock, who is like spec'd out when it comes to charisma. Is, like, take like the Fallout approach, like the older Fallout games approach to stuff. Is like for your combat encounters, if your bard wants to have a go at talking the big bag like villain like of the campaign out of their villainy, let him. Fuck it, let him have a go. If the bard's there, like, all right, I've got like maxed out charisma. I think I can like argue this guy's points. I think his logic is flawed. I think I can talk him round. Let him have a bash. But like, rather than doing what like you should do with the rules, of like, okay, what are you gonna say to the guy? Roll for it. That's gonna dictate if this succeeds or not. Is, as the DM, get into character as the villain. Start thinking like the villain thinks. And actually just have that conversation with the player, like, in character with each other. Like, I mean, this doesn't work for, like all, like, the other stats, but, like, for charisma in particular, roleplay it rather than, like, roll it sometimes. Especially if it's, like, right at the end of the campaign, it's like, this, like, we're about to fight the villain, the bard's like, wait a minute, guys. Let's hear him out. I think I can talk him down. Rather than roll it, roleplay it. Get in a character, like, both you and the bard player, and talk it out. And see if the bard can, like, persuade you round. Or see if you can maybe persuade the bard round. Or, like, talk to each other in character and see if you can shake each other's, like, fundamental, like, character traits.
One thing you can do for that, though,
it can be very fun to do that.
What to do dice roll for it is you roll, instead of just doing one dice roll, is you do several for different points. Yeah,
like one for each like actual point of it as well is another fun way of doing it. Like,
also, don't be afraid. Say that they're based on stat and charisma. Is then you throw a logic question out there to them of why you're doing it, and then they've got to try and use their intelligence to try and beat you at that. Instead. You know,
like. Essentially, what I'm saying is, like, don't be afraid every once in a while to throw the rulebook out of the fucking window and do it your way.
Yeah.
Like, because it can lead to way better stories when you just throw the rules out of the window and go, fuck it. Let's do it this way today, because it might lead us somewhere cool. Like... Especially if it's, like, something the players themselves have come up with. Yeah. Fuck it. Like, if the bard himself is the guy that's come forward and said, I want to try and talk the villain down. Throw the rules out the fucking window and let him try in an interesting way.
I mean,
like, fucking work with it,
Like, one was cantrips. Is where the party fucked off. They decided to build a spaceship and leave the planet.
Yeah.
Because they were talking to the bad guy and they bonded over mutual love of cheese. I thought, well, yeah, he loves cheese, he can't be that bad. We'll get you here, we leave. And they just fucked off from the planet instead.
Yeah.
It was a weird scenario, but
as well is like, don't be afraid to let the villain win every once in a while. Like, I'm not saying let the villain win, like get their final thing, like right at the end of the campaign, kill the players and like they take over the world. Like here and there throughout the story, like little like smaller bits, like, oh, the villain's trying to siege down this town for nefarious reasons, and the players are there and they're in a big siege defense. Let the villain army win. Let them get in there and just fuck shit up. They've brought like 500,000 people to this battle, and this town is defended by 2,000 people. Right. Let them win.
Right. See,
you know, like because that changes how that town is now going to be run. It changes the taxes. It changes the people that live there. It changes the economy of that town. You know, let shit like that happen. But also, like, let your players escape. Let it be like, yeah, you're being like forced back. Like, it's very apparent you need to get out of here or you are dead. You know, like, what do you do? Okay, we look around. Is there any clear escape routes? There's a secret passage over there that's been left open. We're fucking booking it, boys. Give them a way out and let the villains win every once in a while.
Well, no.
To kind of keep the stakes there of, like, some, it's an actual battle. We're actually fighting for the faith. Because if we fuck it up, the villain wins. And the villain makes more progress towards their end goal. You know, like, don't be afraid to do that as the DM.
And one thing you can do also is say the final battle comes down and the players massively fuck up and all get killed.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to let that happen. Right? Let the party die at the final boss. And say, like we're doing, our world's going to be more processional. So,
yeah.
It's not going to be the only story taking place in our world.
I'd say, like, pretty much every campaign that I'm going to be running is going to be in the same world of FatmanT.
Yeah.
Until I inevitably get bored of that world and, like, either expand it massively and add new continents, or I just make a new fucking world.
Yeah.
But, like, even then, FatmanT may turn up again afterwards. Like, who knows?
We've set up a system in place to let that happen. Right? So don't be afraid to let the big bad guy win. And what you do is you accelerate time, say 10 years. You know, the heroes fell, the final battle with the Demon Lord. You know, Demon Lord then swept away, conquered the known continent. You know, life was terrible. Then all of a sudden, rebellion starts. And then builds and builds until you start off the campaign again of a new wave, instead of like a kingdom sending brave knights to defeat the evil bad guy. No, a small, you know, the trope of the village farm boy suddenly picks up a sword and raises off to become a hero.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid of tropes. They're there for a reason.
Yeah, they exist because they work. They're tried and tested. They've been in countless stories. They work. There's a reason they got used and are still being used. You know, like the hero's journey, like stereotype, like for writing, like that whole architecture for writing a story. That gets used even today in writing. Look at Star Wars. You know, farm boy from fucking nowhere, chosen one, meets a magic wizard man, gets a sword, fucks up the villain.
Right, I'll give you.
Am I talking about King Arthur or am I talking about Star Wars and Luke Skywalker?
Right, I'll give you 6 ones that go for the same trope. Right, of this, like, we'll call the Star Wars trope of, you know, nothing, power, win.
Yeah.
Type thing. Right, you got Star Wars first off.
Right? Yeah,
Star
Wars. Get King Arthur as well.
King Arthur.
You can add to that list.
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter, yeah.
Is another one. You know, people don't think of it because, it's a child. He started off with nothing.
Yeah. And, like, while, he didn't have a sword, he had a fucking magic wand.
Yeah, he gave
and he met a wizard. It counts. You just swapped one tool for another, but kept the same general premise.
Yeah. If you want to say the other thing, Obi-Wan was Luke's mentor. Gandalf was Harry's.
Gandalf was Frodo's.
Gandalf.
Hagrid and Dumbledore.
Dumbledore, yeah.
Hagrid and Dumbledore split that role, to be fair.
Lord of the Rings. Frodo, not just Frodo himself, but also, what's his name?
Samwise.
That's Samwise.
Samwise Gamgee. Actually, all of the fucking guys in that party were technically the same fucking character, thinking about it. They all did the same thing.
Yeah.
Because they were all just mates with Gandalf.
Some more than most. I mean, the Tooks. I mean, they actually became knights, oddly enough.
Yeah, like Pippin and Merry just ended up becoming knights because they kind of stumbled ass backwards into it by accident.
Yeah.
Like, They literally bumblefucked their way into being knights.
I'm pretty good knights at that.
It was kind of weird.
They came pretty decent knights, oddly enough.
Yeah, it was weird as fuck.
Even an established hero character, which was the ranger. What was his name?
Oh, Aragon.
Aragon. He started off quite strong. Yet see, he still went through a hero development arc of becoming the High King.
Yeah.
Type thing. So he went through that building arc.
I mean, fuck you. Like, the hero's journey is even present in, like, ancient myth. I mean, fuck, Hercules is a great example.
Yes.
You know, like yeah, it's slightly, because, like, son of a god, kidnapped from the gods and made mortal, and then it follows a hero's journey, but, like they added a bit to the before, but other than that...
Are you reading the PG version of that one? Because that's not how the Hercules goes.
I'm going off of the Disney movie, I'll be honest with you. Like, I'm going off the Disney movie version, because that's the one I'm more familiar with, because it's one of my favourite movies of all time. But, like...
Well, let me give you the full version is... Right, Hercules, mother was buggered by Zeus.
I was gonna say, yeah, she, like, yeah, but, like, you know...
This is ancient Greek.
I know, but, like, we're gonna work with the Disney version, because it's more colourful and happy.
It's not.
The Disney version is way more colourful and happy, because it doesn't involve rape. Like...
But going on, one of my favourite stories, one of the love interests of Zeus in Greek mythology. Right, Hera came back, so he tried to hide her. He turned her into a cow. Mm-hmm. Hera started thinking, "You're shagging someone else, aren't you?" No, I'm not. I said, "Oh, it's just a cow." I thought I'd bring it up, as a nice showpiece. Can I have that cow? Yeah, sure. And then Hera sees get the cow and does brutal things to this poor cow, which did turn out to be Zeus's love interest. They turned the cow to hide from his wife, and just literally just eviscerate this poor woman.
Hannah was there just like, this isn't my first fucking rodeo. It's just like, last week it was a goat. Either you're fucking animals or you're abusing your god magic again.
One way or another, I'm going to find out.
Yes. You have fucked about, so this cow is going to find out. Like...
Yeah.
Achilles, fetch my razors! Yes, my queen!
It was quite... Let's see.
Wait, Achilles wasn't the one with the fucking wings, that was Hermes.
Hermes.
Yeah. Same fucking difference.
One thing I would suggest to DMs is, do not take Greek mythology as a basis for your D&D campaign, because it'll get very cursed very fast.
Yeah, I mean, you can kind of make some of it work, like, and have it quite fun, to be fair, like... Especially, like some, like, the demigod characters, you can definitely introduce the same kind of a character. Like, you can make a knockoff Hercules, you can make a knockoff fucking Achilles, Archimedes. I know Archimedes isn't a Greek god, but, like, work with me here. You know,
just don't introduce the true backstory of these characters, or your players will have mental breakdowns.
Yeah. You know, like... That's everything. As the don't be afraid of, like, committing an actual war crime against your players and, like, like emotionally torture them. Do shit that's mean whenever you want, just to be a cunt. It's like one thing I've done in our campaign so far that I'm going to be doing a lot is, like, when your players are looting bodies, have little notes and shit on them that give them little snippets of backstory to tug at your players' heartstrings to be like, oh no, this guy had a child. We killed a dad, guys. You know, like, make them feel bad about the shit they're doing.
Hasn't worked for me yet.
I mean, yeah, but, like, you're a sociopath who has the excuse to fall back on of, it was kill or be killed, I'm a mercenary, I don't care. Like, you know, but, like, for your character, you'd still role-played with it when I introduced it, because you were still there, just like, it was kill or be killed, but also, I'm a nice guy, so, like, I'm gonna make sure this gets to where it's supposed to go. You know, it's the nice thing to do.
I'm a nice guy, almost torturing his mother.
I mean, yeah, but, like, even still, like, it showed you had a heart. Of just, you know, like, well, yeah, it's gonna, like, fuck the mum up a little bit harder. Every parent deserves to hear from their child one last time, you know?
I mean, like, bring it back to